January 16th is the date. Welcome to 2025, everyone. My name is Doug, and this is another episode of the Figure Four Podcast. This episode, Donnie and I are going to discuss the January 6th history-making Raw. First time on Netflix. We thought it was going to be a little bit more impactful. Just our opinions. Maybe you guys will have something different. Anyway, I'm done talking. Let's get to the show. See what you think. The first Raw on Netflix, January 6th in LA. Little over 17,000 people. Triple H said as far as, I think it was The Rock had said that was the biggest arena show in WWE history. Which I don't quite understand because I guess for an arena, it wasn't like a dome or anything. Maybe that's what he meant. But show starts off. Triple H comes out. Well, he doesn't come out. He's out there, but he's doing a little montage, talking about stuff. This is actually probably going to be a pretty quick show because honestly, the way they hyped it up, they hyped this show up like a WrestleMania. And it really wasn't that great considering what it was supposed to be. But anyway, he does his montage. The big curtain drops. He's in the ring. He's giving his speech, does the whole, finally, are you ready? And we're off and running. So Rock comes out with his People's Championship belt, leaves it with his kids, gets in the ring. What I thought was cool was when he came out from behind the curtain and he showed his arms and his whole body was goosebumps. That was so cool, like legit goosebumps all over his body. It gave me goosebumps seeing him with the goosebumps, like how much like it affects these guys. Like I can't imagine a live rush of a crowd like that. The way it would affect you, like whether you're a wrestler, a boxer, a hockey player, whatever, just a professional athlete. I would love to experience that just once in my life. So The Rock comes out. He does his little thing. Now, he's acknowledging people and all that stuff. I'm a little confused with what's going on with The Rock because one of the people he acknowledges is Cody Rhodes. And it's like, oh, we're happy again, like we're all friends. Is the final boss thing done? Are they going in a different direction? I found that weird. Like, it's like, okay, WrestleMania is done, but like you're still part of the bloodline and all that stuff with your history. But now all the smack that you talked and the final boss thing, it's like, that's all for nothing now. It's like, okay, it's water under the bridge. Roman lost the title and I'm good.
That confused the hell out of me because you got like leading up to WrestleMania, Rock goes ahead. He beats the piss out of Cody out in the parking lot next to his bus and talking about Mama Rhodes and all this kind of stuff. And that Cody's blood is going to be on that belt. And then he comes out and everybody's fucking lovey-dovey. Like
yeah.
I'm like, what? Did we just forget what happened last year?
Yeah, I know it's entertainment and stuff, but he's still with Roman. He's part of the family. And again, it was just the amount of smack and everything leading up to WrestleMania and everything that happened at WrestleMania. And I know Roman was away for a long time and stuff. He just got the Olafala back or whatever the fuck it's called.
The Oofaloofa.
Medulla oblongata, whatever the fuck it is. And I don't know. I don't know. Maybe but I'm going to touch on that again in a little bit. But for him to acknowledge Cody, and I know it's entertainment and all that stuff, and like storylines move on and stuff. I don't know. Just confused me.
But now he comes back. He's now a high chief.
Yes, I thought I was hearing things. So The Rock is now a high chief like Peter Maivia was.
Yeah.
Which is a tremendous honor, but
absolutely.
Yeah, like I said, I'm going to touch on that again in a little bit. Unless there's something you want to Do you want to
No,
go
no.
on? No? Okay.
Nope. We're good.
Okay, so yeah, the whole Cody thing confused me. Uh, and he's talking up the match with Roman Reigns and Solo for the medulla oblongata. That's actually not cool for me to say. I actually can't pronounce the damn thing. I don't mean any disrespect to it. That's not cool. But he's talking about the match with Solo and who's going to be like the big boss. And so the first match, which surprised me, which was cool because I thought this was going to set the stage for the whole show. Because the first match was for Ula Fala. Is that how you say it?
Yes.
Okay.
I keep calling it the Oofalufa.
Okay.
But Ulafala, I'm pretty sure that's what it is.
Okay. So yeah, Rock sets up that match. Solo and Roman. And like I said, I thought this was going to be really cool. Like the show was going to be friggin' amazing. Like you're starting off with this. Like this is going to be an awesome match with all the run-ins and all the bullshit that's been going on within the bloodline the last while. I'm going to be honest with you. The first 8 to 10 minutes of that match was pretty damn boring. Like when I was making my notes, I'm sitting there. I'm like, okay, I got to write something down. So, but we started, and the stipulation was Paul Heyman gets the Ulafala, and he presents it and is the wise man to whoever wins. And like I said, the first 8 to 10 minutes are boring as shit. Like there's not much going on considering it's a basically anything goes match. After basically they're both on the floor, Solo and Roman, pronouns, pal. They're out on the floor. Solo takes the stairs and throws it at Roman. Basically, for anyone that hasn't seen the first Monday Night Raw on Netflix yet, when you go back and you want to watch it, after you watch the opening, after you watch The Rock, after you watch all that stuff, scooted ahead where scooted ahead to where Solo picks up the stairs and throws it at Roman. That's basically when the match is going to start getting cool. They're throwing shots back and forth. Like I said, it wasn't really anything to write home about. Roman misses a concerto in the ring at one point, hurts his hand, and Solo gets a low blow. That's the first like impactful move of this match, and we're probably 12 minutes in at this point. Ish.
About that, yeah.
So he misses a concerto, hurts his hands, gets a low blow from Solo, and that's basically the high point of the match so far. Solo goes out for a chair. Roman hits a drive-by out. They're outside the ring at this point. Solo goes for a chair. Roman hits the drive-by, but in the ring, he had got a low blow from Solo, like 4 minutes before. So after he hits the drive-by and Solo's down, his peas are still really sore 4 minutes later. I thought I think at one point he actually grabbed his balls. It was like, my balls, like I was just like, Jesus, guys, come on. Like you're setting the pace for the biggest Raw in history. And it's not very impactful so far at this point. So then they get back in the ring, or no, they're not back in the ring yet. Solo starts beating Roman with a kendo stick. Roman powerbombs Solo through the table that was set up before he got his peas hurt. And all of a sudden, here comes the gremlin. And then all of a sudden, the werewolf comes out. And they kick the shit out of Roman. Solo hits the Samoan spike. Roman kicks out. Then Solo spikes the ref. And of course, it's legal because it's basically anything goes. Solo goes for another spike on Roman, but then with the gremlin and the werewolf helping him, but then Sammy and Jimmy come out. All hell breaks loose. At this point, what did you think of the match? So we're ready to go home now. This is where the drama comes, probably 17 minutes in to the match. The match was a dud. The match was great for the ending and the last probably 4 minutes. What did you think of the match to this point? I understand building drama and all this stuff, but for a no holds barred match, anything goes. I give it a dud, except for the last few minutes, because that was the match.
I'm gonna say, like, out of 5, I'm gonna give this match maybe a 2, maybe 1.5, maybe a 2.
I'll give it a 2 just because the ending was good, and we'll get there.
Yeah, I mean, like looking at for a no holds barred match or like anything goes, it was pretty weak. I have to say it was pretty weak.
Oh man, that beer is some good. So Solo goes for another spike. Sammy and Jimmy comes out. Roman goes for a cover at one point, but there's no ref because Solo took out the referee. And another referee comes out, but Solo kicks out a 2. I guess he was on the mat too long. And all of a sudden, Kevin Owens comes out. Now, this is basically where the match starts for me. This is what made it exciting. Kevin Owens comes out, stuns Roman. Solo goes for the cover. And I didn't expect Solo to win at that point. But I'll be honest, when Kevin Owens came out and he hit him with that stunner and then covered and Roman kicked out, I thought for sure they were going to find a way to make Roman lose that match and Solo keep going. Even though I've been so tired of that new bloodline for months and months, I was like, no, God, no. I did have doubt. I was like, please don't let this continue anymore. He can't be a tribal chief. He's not a tribal anything. He's just, anyway. So all of a sudden, Cody comes out. Cody hits the Cody cutter. They spill out to the outside, and now Roman is primed. Spears wins, gets, he's the tribal chief. Like I said, the last 5 minutes of that match is what made the match. I was so disappointed. Like, yeah, there were chair shots and, like someone went through a table, but it was really, really uneventful. I thought personally for the first Raw, not just of 2025, but the first Raw going on Netflix. I was like, God,
well, they hyped it up so much.
It was so disappointing.
They hyped it up so much, and it's like, at least the last 3 weeks leading up to this, it was Raw's going to Netflix, and this is the card, and this is going to happen, and these guys are going to go at it, and it's like, it happens, and it's like, really? Like, this is like, it's not even a Saturday night's main event. This was like main event stuff.
Saturday night's main event was twice the show that this was. And it's just because of the way they hyped it. Saturday night's main event, it's night and day. I'm going to touch on a few points as we continue with the show. So
now I got something I want to ask you something.
Yep.
So Paul Heyman comes back, whatever it was, 3 weeks ago. Heyman returned.
Yeah, 3 weeks.
Give or take 3 weeks, about a month ago. He shows up. He's wearing a red shirt underneath his blazer, looking an awful lot like Solo. He's still preaching Roman. Can Roman trust Heyman?
I think so. I think if he was going to double cross him, because we covered this in another show a few shows ago, maybe one show ago, when we were doing predictions. I thought that Heyman was going to double cross him. And if he was going to double cross him, it would have happened at the latest point, it would have happened at Raw when this was going on. I think at this point for him to double cross Roman, why? because Solo's not the tribal chief. Roman's the tribal chief. Creatively, it wouldn't make sense, I don't think, unless they've got other things planned for down the road as well, right? But at the same time, you got to remember, for whatever's going to happen or whatever it is, Paul Heyman still owes CM Punk a favor. And even Roman Reigns asked him weeks ago, what was the favor? And, oh, my tribal chief. We'll worry about that when the time comes. You know, like, so I think that favor has something to do with, and maybe it wasn't in the plans at all for Paul Heyman to turn his back on Roman Reigns. I thought he was going to, but at this point, no. I
was sure
he's totally original bloodline. He's not going anywhere. He's not going with Solo. I don't think so. It just creatively, I don't see where they could go with that if that happened.
Right.
So Rock comes out, gives the Ulafula, and I hope I said that right. That just didn't sound right. He gives it to Roman, but there's a weird vibe coming off Rock. I don't know what it is. You want to talk about people stabbing people in the back? I could see The Rock stabbing Roman in the back. Maybe Rock wants to be the tribal chief. Now, like you brought up earlier, he's a high chief now. Right? So maybe I could be wrong. I got a weird vibe off The Rock when he put that thing around Roman's neck, and I don't know. It's like if anyone's going to turn their back on Roman, I think it's going to be The Rock. That's my opinion.
It won't surprise me. I mean, the whole show itself, like it just had a weird vibe. Like Rock comes out, he's all lovey-dovey with everybody, and you know, it showed backstage stuff where he was like hugging it out with all the different superstars, especially Cody. I mean, that just shocked the hell out of me.
I don't get it.
And when he came out and he put the Ulafala around Roman's neck, it was like, so is Roman going to be okay with him being like a high chief now, where Roman was like the top of the ladder?
Yeah.
If you want to look at it like that, or top of the pyramid or whatever. Like it sat weird. It just seemed weird to me.
Yeah. I agree.
So I don't know. I don't know. I have no idea what direction that they're going to go in with this. Yeah, I don't know.
Okay, so then after this, John Cena comes out. So I guess this is officially the beginning of his farewell tour. And he goes off and he's rambling about, not winning that record-breaking 17th World Championship and blah, 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 blah. Then he gets talking about the Royal Rumble and then, oh my God, all I have to do is win the Royal Rumble. And yeah, I'm going to win it. And the way it's set up right now is for him to main event WrestleMania. I always look
it sounds that way.
Forward to the Royal Rumble, but I am 96% sure that John Cena is going to win the Royal Rumble. And he's going to come out. He's going to draw a number between 20 and 30. 23 and 30. He's not going to draw number 16. He's not. It'd be ironic if he drew number 17. That would be cool. Then I'd be okay. If he drew number 17 and went out and won the Royal Rumble, oh, it's got to be destiny. Like you can push that. But I mean, he's too old. He's almost 50 years old. He's not going to draw number 17 and go out and compete. So I say he's going to pick somewhere. It'll be between 20 and 30, 22, 23. He's going to come out. I think he's going to win the Royal Rumble. I hope I'm wrong. Because then it's flip a coin what happens at WrestleMania. Does he win the title or does he not win the title? because I do not want to see him beat Ric Flair's record. I've said this a million goddamn times. Do I
Yes, you
respect
have.
him? Yes, I respect him, but he does not deserve to beat Ric Flair's record. Like I said this weeks ago or a few months ago. Give it to someone who really deserves it, like Randy Orton. Now, I think Randy's only got 14 world championships. Build him up. Randy can still go. I mean, he's on the shelf now, but Randy can still go. It doesn't have to be WWE titles. Make more sense because of the whole, I think they were setting him and Cody to have something before he got hurt. But give him a world heavyweight championship. Give him two, like now someone beating Gunther for the world heavyweight championship, Randy doing it, I can dig that because it's believable. Someone like Sami Zayn? No. Someone like a New Day member? No. Someone like Chad Gable? No. That's it just, I don't know. But anyway, I'm not, like I said, I'm 96.7% sure he's going to win the Royal Rumble now and go on to WrestleMania. And then my fingers are just crossed that he doesn't win. But yeah,
I was going to ask you who do you think that he's actually, if he does win the Rumble, if that does come to fruition, I was going to ask you who does he go after? Because
he'll go after Cody.
I can't see. I don't see him going after Cody.
They've got nothing else for Cody right now. Cody hasn't done a damn thing except this Kevin Owens thing since Randy Orton got hurt. And I still say that's what they had planned. It was something with him and Randy Orton. Now they've got that ladder match at the Royal Rumble. But he's not going to lose the WWF title or the Winged Eagle. On that note as well, he's not going to lose it at the Royal Rumble because it doesn't make sense for WrestleMania.
I'm glad you brought up the Winged Eagle. So the ladder match is going to have both the Universal title up on the hook as well as the Winged Eagle. The winner of the match, do they end up making some kind of a hybrid new Winged Eagle, or do they stick with the Universal title?
I don't know.
What's your thoughts?
I think at this point they still stick with the network logo belt. I don't think they make a hybrid.
I fucking hate that thing. I fucking hate that belt.
I don't see them making a hybrid yet because I just don't, because it was supposed to be one night only. If they do, awesome. Because I've seen some prototypes and they all look cool as shit. But like I said, ever since, I was never a fan of the network logo belt until they put that gold behind it. And I'm like, okay, I can dig that. It's still just a big WWE logo, but it looks way better with that gold backing behind it. But it's still not a Winged Eagle. It's just promoting your brand. Which is probably...
That's all it is.
Which is probably 100% of the thought behind it. We don't care what the belt looks like. We're promoting our brand. Right. Whatever. So the next match was the WWE Women's Championship, Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley. Right off the bat, Rhea started kicking the shit out of her and showing her dominance. She was throwing Liv around. She power bombed her on the table outside, but of course, Liv is going to come back. The match is actually pretty good. So far, it's better than the Tribal Chief match. They were actually fairly stiff, I thought, on both their parts. They were fairly stiff. And at this point, it's back and forth. Liv hits a tornado DDT that I thought off the second rope, that I thought that it was just friggin' awesome, because when she planted Rhea, it was like Rhea was 90 degrees straight in the air and then bounced. I thought it was the move of the night. I thought the two of them executed that perfectly and it looked cool as shit. I had to throw that in there. Rhea hits Riptide. Liv kicks out. I'm a little surprised at that because throughout the night for all the matches, people were kicking out of each other's finishes all the time. At least once each. What's the point of having a finishing move if you're going to have guys? I thought it was only Hogan did that back in the 80s. Didn't matter who he was fighting, he'd kick out of your finish.
Yep.
I think Warrior was the only guy that ever kicked out of the Hogan leg drop. If he even did, I don't know. But even in WCW when he was older, that it took years and years for people to kick out of the Hogan leg drop. But he'd kick out of everyone's. I was a little surprised at that because, I mean, not to take any away from Liv Morgan, she's not Rhea Ripley. She's not a dominator. So for her to kick out a Riptide, that kind of surprised me a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the match itself, it wasn't bad. I honestly thought that Liv was going to end up winning it. I'm not going to, mince words. I was sure there was going to be some kind of a run-in that Liv was going to end up retaining, but to see Mommy end up, taking back the belt, I thought it was pretty cool. I don't know what direction that they're going to go in with her storyline now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where, like, is it going to be Rhea and Raquel Rodriguez again? Is Liv going to jump back into the story? I don't know what, like, where does this go? Like, yeah.
See, and it's been a few weeks since this happened, and we still don't really know, right? No. So yeah, Liv kicks out. Dom at one point takes the title, throws it in the ring. Rodriguez, the referee, takes the belt, so he's distracted. Rodriguez is on the apron. She's got a chair, drops it on the mat. Liv hits her Oblivion on the chair. Rhea kicks out. So there's more finishes people are kicking out of. Rhea comes back, hits a few Riptides in a row, and wins back the championship, which I pretty much, at one point, I wasn't sure. I went into this match thinking Rhea was going to win back the title because it's just been built up so much. But there was a point or two I was like, oh, fuck, maybe they're going to keep it on Liv. So she comes back. She wins the championship. Dom comes in. Looks like he's going to do something. He wants a hug. She kicks him in the peas, gives him a fucking Riptide, and that's it. Rhea regains the championship. Now, again, the match was better, I thought, than the whole match of Roman Reigns and Solo up until the last 5 minutes, the closing of that match.
Right.
Now, here is something that just didn't make any goddamn sense to me at all. Rhea's going back. Her music is playing. She's celebrating. She wins the championship, and here comes Taker. They hit his music, American or Rollin', American Badass, whatever the fuck it was. Takes the bike down the aisle, goes around the ring, stops beside Rhea. They kind of high five, throw their hand up, and that's it. That's the Undertaker's appearance. I'm still confused why they did that during Rhea Ripley's celebration, because again, it just doesn't make any goddamn sense.
The only thing that comes to mind is because Taker was the first person to main event on the first Monday Night Raw.
Yes, and I get that, but why have him come down on a bike while Rhea Ripley's walking back, and it's not the main event, it's just a championship match. She wins the title. He takes a rip around the ring, high fives her, throws his hand in the air. Like, why not give him his own segment? Let him come out and talk for a few minutes. Would have made more sense that way, but to come out during Rhea Ripley's celebration?
That would have made more sense. Yeah, I agree with that.
It's
not like you said, it wasn't like Rhea's match was the main event of the night.
No. It was weird to me.
I guess they were just kind of acknowledging his presence. if that makes any sense.
It does, and they had to because, like
But
you said, he main evented the first one, but it was just a stupid fucking way to
it
acknowledge his presence.
it seemed like a stupid plug. Like, and
Yeah.
there were so many stupid plugs the entire night.
Yes.
And there's one that I'm sure we're going to touch on here before the show is over that involves someone, brother.
Oh yeah,
But
we're coming up on that. We are coming
but
up
yeah,
on that.
like I don't know. I mean, like it was cool to see him come out as the American badass again and do his little loop around the ring and everything. But yeah, I agree. I mean, like for him to come out, if Rhea's match was the main event, I get it. I totally get it. But it's like she's like mid card. I like she won the
Literally
title. I get it.
literally mid card at a 3 hour goddamn show. They had 4 matches. So yeah, this was a mid card match.
Yeah,
And I'm gonna bitch about that too.
but yeah, that's my thoughts on that match as a whole.
Then the next segment is Chad Gable. I hate that guy. He's actually a pretty good wrestler, but his promos suck because he's too nerdy. And actually, the two guys he's got with him, I got no use for them either. But that chick is pretty impressive. I don't mind her. She's pretty good. They just don't let her speak. But he's in the back. He's bitching at Adam Pierce. He's moving on with his career, and he's going to do this. He's going to do that. And next week, he wants the best luchador in the world because he wants to put to rest that he does not have a problem beating luchadors. And everyone knows it's going to be Penta. Everyone knew it was going to be Penta. It wasn't a secret that maybe some people didn't know, but it was no secret that Penta had just signed with WWE. And
Yep.
he's probably the best luchador since Rey Mysterio. So that was kind of a wasted segment myself, but I guess you got to throw guys in and make them earn their money somehow. Then they switch and they keep showing all these stars that were at the event and wrestlers. And we're going to keep touching on this. It was just guys. There was so much wasted time in this show. Oh, look who's here. Oh, look who's here. This is not WrestleMania. It's Monday Night Raw on Netflix. All right. Yes. Is it history? Yes. But why do you got to keep showing people in the goddamn crowd? Just anyway. The next match, the third match, was Jey Uso and Drew McIntyre. Now, I get this whole storyline with Jey Uso and Drew McIntyre because the bloodline screwed them and he came over when he left the bloodline and Drew doesn't trust him and is pissed off that everyone welcomed him with open arms and all this stuff. I'll get into that a little bit more, as I'm sure you will, because I got some things to say about this. Some rapper comes out with Jay, I can't remember his name, with either a joint or a cigarette. I don't know which one it was. While they're yeeting up in the stands all over each other. Okay, cool. Hope it was good. Drew's coming down the ring for his entrance, or he's coming down the ramp for his entrance. And Jay starts it right off the bat, jumps and flies out of the ring. They're going at it. And as to be expected, Drew makes him pay for it and just kind of beats the crap out of him, throws him around a little bit. This is a match where there's not a lot to talk about. It was an average Monday Night Raw match. I understand, like I said, I understand the storyline, but it was just kind of a blah match. Your average Monday Night Raw match. It was cool the way it ended. Again, there's not much to talk about because it was an average match. It was cool the way it ended. Drew went for a Claymore and when Jay was in the corner walking out, he just kind of collapsed like, oh God, I'm dead. And Drew starts taunting him a little bit. And all right, I'm just going to finish this. Goes for another Claymore. The leg comes up. Jay kind of goes behind him, scoops him up, cradles him, gets the win. And Drew is pissed. That was the coolest part of the match. It was a cool ending. It was a good way because there's no other way Jay can beat him. Jay Uso and Drew McIntyre have no chemistry and cannot have a good match together. That's my opinion.
None whatsoever. My question is this. Okay, so I'm going to go back a little bit to WrestleMania when Drew beat Seth for the World Heavyweight Championship. I'm like, okay, this is a new direction that they're going to go in with Drew. Only to have Damian cash in on him.
Yeah.
What are they doing with Drew? Like, is he just going to keep on putting people over? Is he just going to be a jobber? Like, what the fuck is going to go on with Drew McIntyre? Because I'm getting sick and tired. And I'll be honest, I'm not the biggest Drew McIntyre fan on the face of the earth. But when you look, I mean, he's a good worker.
Yes.
He's a good worker, man.
He's good on the mic. He's a good worker. He's got the look. He's huge. And I understand, like, I probably like Drew McIntyre a little bit more than you do. Like when I see him come out for a segment, I actually won't skip it. I'll pay attention to it. But yep. I know where you're coming from because, and I understand we touched on this last show or a show before or whenever, but it's been recently. I would like to see them get him back to the Scottish psychopath again. But at this point, he should be crazy already because of all the shit with the bloodline. And when Jay came back and he's been kind of screwed out of a match, that boat has sailed. So I'm wondering the same thing too. What are they doing with him? It's like he's just kind of floundering, and put a fucking title on the guy. Like,
I think he deserves it, man. Like, I mean, okay, like, storylines aside, like, yes, he's been screwed out of this. He's been screwed out of that. Go back to WrestleMania. Like I said, like, I was like, okay, if Seth is going to drop the belt to anybody, it's going to be Drew.
Yeah.
He's going to take that and go with it.
Yeah.
And then Damian cashes in, and I mean, that's a whole other, I'm not going to get into that. But like, there's only so much that you can do with a character and their storyline, and you can't keep on fucking screwing him out of every single title shot. Like, what are they going to do with him?
Not even title shots. Just like I said, I kind of thought
opportunities.
I thought the ending to this match was entertaining, but just to the way it ended, because it's going to piss him off even more. Okay, I get that. But what drives me crazy is, oh God, like after watching this match, and again, it was blah, it was kind of mediocre. They have no chemistry together.
None.
None. It's just, fuck. Now we're going to have at least another return match, at least one more. So
yep.
It's how fucking much longer are you going to prolong this? This is why I mentioned in the last show, I could see guys like Drew McIntyre and Seth Rollins at the very least getting together because they both hate the bloodline, especially Roman Reigns. Like, Jay is just part of it because he was part of the bloodline. Kevin Owens, I don't know. I'd like to see that too because he can't fucking stand the bloodline. Right. But I don't know where this is going. They're setting, I don't know what they're going to do. Like, you got to end this feud with Jey Uso soon. And if you want to have him feud with anyone, and I know it's hard, but we talked about this last show again too. I don't even know if the wrestlers if they're still going with, oh, he's on SmackDown brand and this guy is on Raw brand, because there's so many crossovers the last while. I don't know if they're going to continue with that.
Right.
I don't know. It would make sense for Kevin Owens to kind of go over with them, but I don't know if that's still a thing either.
Right.
Um, so yeah, that was that match. It wasn't a good match. It was an average match. That was the third match. Now, Hulk Hogan comes out. The next segment with Jimmy Hart. Jimmy's got the American flag, and Hogan is booed from the opening to the end. Now, you wanted to touch on that before, so I'll let you kick this off. You lead off with this one.
So, okay. So Hogan and Jimmy come out. Jimmy's got the American flag. He's going back and forth with it. American, I'm a real American is blaring over the PA speakers. It's funny because I'm pretty sure Hogan took to Instagram and said, I don't understand why they're booing Jimmy this bad. And he
Yeah.
knew, man, that all that heat was on him.
Yeah.
And so, okay, so I'm not going to touch too much on politics here because I fucking hate politics. So Hogan has been seen at a bunch of Trump rallies and all this kind of stuff, and that he's, promoting his real American beer, and Donald Trump is going to be the new president and all this kind of stuff.
Well, it was in LA where it's predominantly liberals. So that might have something to do with it.
Another thing to keep in mind, Taker also had Donald Trump on his show, and he is a Trump supporter.
Yep.
They didn't boo Taker when he came out on his bike.
No.
They cheered.
There's been other stuff with Hogan too. I mean, look at the N-word.
A lot of racial stuff that came out about Hogan.
And not just that. Now, this just came out, at least in the belt community. Hogan was gifted, I guess the best replica you can get now as far as the big gold goes, it's C4.
Okay.
Supposedly, I have seen it. Supposedly, as far as replica belts go, that's as good as you can get. And they're expensive. They're thousands of dollars. So Hogan is gifted this C4 big gold belt. And as the story goes, he signed it. And after he signed it, he sold it for $7,000.
Jesus.
Instead of maybe just... Now, I'm sure Hogan's got actual ring use belts that he had in his career. So a replica belt maybe doesn't hold a lot of meaning to him. But maybe people, at least in the belt community, some people were pretty pissed off that collect championship belts. How bad does Hogan need $7,000? People were pissed off in the belt community that he took it and he sold it for $7,000. Now, I mean, whatever. Do whatever you want. It was gifted to you. Do whatever you want. But it could be that. I'm sure it was the racism thing. I'm sure the Donald Trump thing didn't help. I'm sure it doesn't help that you can't really believe a word that comes out of his mouth. The best I heard was, brother, 1 year I wrestled 400 days out of a year. Like he's a chronic liar. I think I put in the notes here, or I said to Adrian when I was kind of talking about this show coming up, I said, January 6th, 2025 was the actual day that Hulkamania died. It started officially. It started January 23rd, 1984, when he beat the Iron Sheik in MSG for the WWF Championship. But I think January 6th, 2025 was the official day that Hulkamania is dead.
Yep.
Poor Hogan.
Absolutely.
100%. It's not easy being Hulk Hogan. It can't be. Okay, so the main event is CM Punk versus Seth Rollins. I was looking forward to this match for so long, just because of how personal it's gotten. The match starts, they instantly just start fighting. They're outside. on the floor fighting pretty quick, still throwing punches, and everything was fairly stiff. And one thing I noticed, and I noticed this whenever he came back at Survivor Series, Punk never looked this good when he was WWE champion 10, 12 years ago, whenever it was. I don't remember, but he looks great for his age. He didn't look that good back then. So they're both trying really hard to make it a personal thing. They're going out of their way and they're showing everyone, yeah, we don't like each other. This is personal. I'm going to kill this cunt and all that stuff. One high spot in the match was Punk had Rollins, or Rollins had Punk. I don't know who delivered it, but it was a swinging neck breaker off the top rope. That was just, I was like, all right, well, that's pretty goddamn cool. And they landed it flawlessly. Like the very, very few wrestling holds that were used in this match were done very well. So Rollins hits a go to sleep on CM Punk, and it was good impact. They showed it in slow motion, and Punk is coming down, and Rollins came up with that knee, bang, right on the forehead or the top of the head, but it was hard enough where in slow motion you could see his head and his skin like jiggle. He got all of it. He got all of it. Both guys were using each other's finishes, but Rollins, I find, did it the best with any go to sleep that he hit. During the match, Rollins hits a pedigree on the table that didn't look the greatest, but I mean, whatever. Rolls Punk back into the ring, tries to pin him, gets a 2 count. Rollins, as the match is going on, again, the match was good, but it was more of a fight. There wasn't a lot of there was no high flying. There was no wrestling moves. It wasn't
a wrestling match.
No, it wasn't booked to be a wrestling match. It was booked to be a fight.
No.
So,
yeah.
Rollins coming on the end of the match hits a buckle bomb and a stomp. Still can't pin Punk, so he's getting frustrated. Punk in the end hits 2 go to sleeps. I don't know if it was the first one or the second one. Cuts Seth Rollins. You could see the aftermath. He's kind of got a black eye and all that stuff. Drew some blood. Hits 2 go to sleeps. Wins the match. I can see Seth Rollins turning heel again, full heel. There was a point in that match he was out on the floor and he was getting the better of CM Punk, and he turned around, he started screaming at the crowd, I built all this. This is all me, and the crowd is into it, but it's like he kind of caught himself a little bit, like, okay, I got to bring it back a little bit. I can see Seth Rollins going total heel again. Maybe even before the Royal Rumble, which we're only a few weeks out from the Royal Rumble. But again, I'm still going to say it won't surprise me where guys like him who hate the bloodline in Roman, guys like Drew who hate the bloodline in Roman, there's going to be something happen. There's got to be. They're just way too vocal about how much they hate Roman Reigns and the bloodline.
Going vocal. I saw something on Instagram today that actually talked about the promo that was cut before that Monday Night Raw. Seth and Punk, that was totally unscripted. They ad-libbed everything in the ring.
Okay.
That was completely like unscripted.
Right.
So everything that was done, everything that was said between those two, completely unscripted. I thought that was amazing. Like you could totally like, if you're not a fan of wrestling and you tuned into that for the first time, like you can sense that there's hate.
You can tell, yeah,
hate
because
between those two.
I mean, but those guys are so seasoned. I mean, I can't speak for Seth Rollins because I never thought he was a good promo guy until CM Punk came back. I'll be honest with you. I thought it was a little too forced, where CM Punk has always been good on the mic. CM Punk just goes out and talks. He doesn't try to force anything. It just comes out.
Pipe bomb.
Yeah,
Pipe bomb.
Exactly. But with Rollins, there's some truth to it. So he can feel it and get into it. And for those promos not to be scripted, you can totally tell because, like I said, I never thought he was a good promo guy. Seemed too forced, but there's truth in this. So of course it's going to be believable. Of course it's going to be a good promo because he's speaking from the heart on something that he fucking means. I think professionally they do respect each other, but behind the scenes, I don't think they're good buddies. I don't think they talk they might talk about the match. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. They're not going out for a Coke when the fight's over. I think that's the end of it. And there's truth.
I honestly think there's more heat between those two than what there was between Brett and Shawn.
I wouldn't go that far.
No?
No. I wouldn't go that far. I shouldn't say that. I'm sure there is. They just don't take it as far as Brett and Shawn did. CM Punk might, but I think Seth Rollins is more refined, keep it bottled up type thing a little bit, where Brett and Shawn just went out and they didn't give a fuck. It was what it was they were talking about and talk about it. These guys aren't taking it to that level, but I'm not fooling myself. I know there's professional respect there, but I don't think on a personal level there's much respect at all. At least from Seth Rollins. CM Punk, not so much, because he's got no reason to maybe not like Seth Rollins on a personal level. It's the other way around. Seth Rollins doesn't like CM Punk on a personal level because whenever he left and spent years trying to rip down the company.
See, the way that I look at it, like Brett has always said that regardless of whatever went on between him and Shawn, they were always professionals in the ring. And like they would, whatever is going to orchestrate in the match, it's going to play out. I think that behind the scenes, and I mean, we know the history between Brett and Shawn. Like Brett got into a fight and pulled out a chunk of Shawn's hair and whatever the fuck went on with that. But I think there was more in terms of professionalism in the ring. That was more with Brett and Shawn as opposed to Punk and Rollins.
I think there's still a bit of professionalism. I mean, they were stiff.
Exactly.
Those go to sleeps that Rollins gave Punk. They were good. They were stiff, but it wasn't enough. Where like, dude, you knocked out my tooth, or dude, you broke my orbital bone, or anything. But it was like here you go. But I understand where you're coming from. I totally do, and it's comparable. The beef between the two of them could be comparable to Brett and Shawn, but just on different levels. Like
I will say this:
you can take different scenarios, but they're on different levels.
That last promo that they cut before Raw, when Rollins just fucking went off on him, I was like, I was totally sold. I was like,
because you never saw that kind of heart out of him before, because the promos that were written for him didn't mean anything.
No,
this was right from the heart.
This was real. Like that was real emotion.
Yeah. So the first Raw of 2025 is over. First Raw on Netflix is over. These are my takeaways from it. For the hype, the show wasn't that great. They had 4 matches. The show was not good, in my opinion. Punk and Rollins, hands down, was the best match on the card. There were too many cutaways. There were too many look who's here. Oh, look who's in the crowd. Blah, blah. It was a whole lot of nothing. It was a lot of wasted time, I thought. I'll say it again. 4 matches in a 3-hour show is a bit ridiculous, especially with the segments that they used to fill in time. Didn't mean much of anything. But I will give props to Netflix. The show looked great. It was crystal clear. I loved the setup. I loved the lights. I loved the new desk. I loved the drones flying around, getting all the different angles. The setup looks cool. I'll give Netflix all the credit in the world. I think SmackDown looks better. Again, this happened January 6th. I think SmackDown looks better than Raw, but I'll give Netflix credit. The show looked great. Those were my takes. What were your takeaways from the whole thing, looking back on it now?
Given the hype that was pumped for this being like the first show.
Jesus Christ, the way they pumped it for a month, 2 months, it was like it was going to be the next WrestleMania.
Oh my God, dude. It seemed like it was going to be a pay-per-view. And so I'm looking at the card, and like, just to have, there was too much filler. There was too much filler. There was too much, like you said, this person's here, that person's here. I was expecting more.
Totally. Yeah. I don't know what I was expecting, but I was expecting more.
Now, I mean, with there not being any time constraints on Netflix, like maybe if the show was only going to be 2 hours, like if they only have enough to fill 2 hours, they'll fill 2 hours. If it's 2.5 hours, they'll fill 2.5 hours. But like leading up to the inaugural show, I thought I kind of thought that it under-delivered.
It did. And again, I don't know what I was expecting, but I expected more.
Yeah.
Throwing in an extra match or two wouldn't have hurt.
No.
I don't know. Like I said, I don't know what I was expecting. I was expecting something else. A couple more matches, like I said, would have been nice. But even another championship match, for fuck's sake, everyone's got a championship now. Throw another championship match in there. That would have made it better. But it is what it is. It is what it is. Congratulations, Netflix. I hope it gets a little better. And that is it, guys. That's our review of the January 6, 2025 Raw on Netflix. Hope you guys enjoyed this show. We had a great time bringing it to you. Until next time, my name is Doug, and I am out.